you came up with the idea of local consumption of local product a long time ago.
A long, long time ago, because when we opened Frontera, which is almost 29 years ago, we had just moved back from Mexico, and everything that I had learned in Mexico was that the best food came from local ingredients. And even though I was bringing back the traditions of Mexico, I wanted to express all of those beautiful regional dishes with as much local produce as I possibly can, because that's the good stuff.
Yeah. Seems that we could learn much more about that. Instead of having a global food system,
Yes.
develop local food systems with their own character, appropriate to the local communities and the local populations.
You're exactly right, but for me, it goes sort of deeper into that, because I'm a restaurant chef, and restaurant chefs all over the world tend to express the place that they are. And when I moved into Chicago, it was a lot of big corporate food, basically, is what I could call it. And there were some really good restaurants, but they weren't any of them buying anything local. And I thought if I wanted to stand out from that I needed to start looking for local sources. And when we started almost 29 years ago, there were no farmers markets in the city of Chicago, and I couldn't find a single farmer to work with me. And thank goodness that era is way behind us, and now we're seeing some of our farms grow bigger and bigger. And I know that that's one of the interests that you have, is sort of scaling things up so that we can actually afford to put it on this local food on our menu, and not have it just be window dressing, which is what chefs were doing for a long time. They'd say, oh, I have these beautiful edible flowers to put on the top of your dish that is 99% made from commodity products from who knows where. And we know that basically all the food that shows up in our markets has come an average of about 1,500 miles. Well, that's not good for our local agriculture, it's not good for our local economy, and it's not good for local flavor. And I think if we want to really change things, we have to seduce people with flavor. And the local ingredients are the ones that have the best flavor. I mean, just even from City Farm, we buy tons and tons of habaneros from you guys. And we have that local habanero flavor on our menu. Well, they come in the fall, and then we process them all by roasting them and then pureeing them and then freezing them in small, because they're explosively hot. Mm-hmm. And so we freeze them in small bags, and then all during the winter we can seduce our customers with the beautiful flavor of these roasted, locally grown habaneros from City Farm.
Yeah. Well, I'm pleased to hear you say all of that, because we need at this point to convince the city and our region this is a viable economy.
Yes.
Can support a large amount of jobs, high quality jobs, especially in the neighborhoods that need additional jobs.
Yes.
And right now we're finding we can produce 5 jobs per acre. There's 40,000 vacant acres, if used appropriately, could be used for growing food and providing jobs in the city. So we're at the stage, I think you've proven the desirability of local produce, and we've got the system to produce produce just temporarily on vacant space.
Right.
The vacant space moves around as demolition occurs and rebuilding occurs. Using that space as an engine for job development, we could build farms and have a lot more employment in the city.
Every time I talk to you about that, I am so incredibly inspired. The first time I ever met you was at Resource Center, and you were telling me these same things, but we just didn't have the demand. We didn't have the market for it back then.
Yeah.
And now it's thrilling for me to hear you saying all of these same things all these many years later. And what we have now, I think, because of so many chefs in the city of Chicago especially, adopting farm-to-table ideas, wanting to work with local produce, that now we have such a demand that we can actually take that dream that I heard you talk about decades ago and actually make it into a reality, because we have the need for all that produce here, and we know we can sell it.
Yeah.